week in United States Division South, Iraq takes control of 3 former U.S. bases, a soldier lends her expertise to budding Basra doctors, and Army pilots take to the virtual skies to sharpen their skills. Those stories ahead, but first, the U.S. has turned over 3 more bases to the Iraqi government. More than 1,000 troops once occupied Contingency Operating Station Hunter. The Iraqi Army will continue training there and use more than $2 million worth of life-sustaining equipment left behind. Patrol Base Mosier once served as headquarters for the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force and a training base for the IA.
I think base closure is a way forward for Iraq and the U.S. forces to show that we have, as the United States and the Iraqi government, come to a conclusion that they have been able to supply and sustain their operations.
U.S. Division South turned over Patrol Base Shaiba, also known as Savage. A logistical military advisory team will move to Cab Adder, from which they'll continue working with Iraqi security forces in the area.
It's a sign that it's successful, that we're actually accomplishing the mission. The Iraqis are taking over the country for themselves. They're standing on their own 2 feet. The mission has been a success.
More than 100 bases, or half the number currently in operation, are set to close over the next 18 months as part of the drawdown of U.S. forces in Iraq. Apache pilots are focusing more on reconnaissance as the U.S. mission shifts, but they still have to be ready for any situation. Specialist Daniel Sullivan discovered how pilots are keeping skills sharp without ever leaving the ground.
Roger. The Longbow Crew Trainer contains pilot and co-pilot compartments, an instructor station, 2 computers, and 3 image generators. All this and the programmer control the simulated world of the pilots in training.
It's designed to be as close to the real thing as they possibly can get it, but there's definitely some quirks between the simulator and the real thing.
Although it's not the real thing, many qualities make it useful. It allows the pilots to practice gunnery, instruments, standoff ranges, and team tactics, all without the risk of actual flight. For first-time flyers like Specialist Robert Glenn, it keeps the wrecks from being anything other than learning experiences.
Pretty much like a big video game, just can take risk and not have to worry about repercussions.
It's designed so that in the middle of a mission, the instructor can pause the simulation and discuss how to proceed. Besides saving pilots' lives, it's also saving taxpayer dollars. An Apache costs $18 million, and a single Hellfire missile costs $68,000. So while the LCT costs around $25 million, it actually saves money in the long run.
Also, it allows us to fly and deploy the weapon systems without spending the money involved to put an aircraft in the sky and the cost of the ammunition itself.
Every 6 months, the pilots have to log 15 hours of simulator time and 70 hours behind the controls of a real Apache.
We try to do as much as we can in the helicopter because there's nothing that gives you the experience and training as actually being in the helicopter does, real world. But this is it's definitely a good tool, and it gets you in the groove.
The 29 LCTs the Army has received so far are all around the world, in Afghanistan, Germany, America, Kuwait, Egypt, and Iraq. Reporting from Basra, Iraq, I'm Specialist Daniel Sullivan.
Basra Medical University is trying to fight Iraq's high infant mortality rate. They're doing it in part by bringing in outside experts. 17th Fires Brigade Surgeon Captain Sue Mosier taught a class of over 60 future Iraqi doctors the finer points of newborn examination. With a background in pediatrics, Mosier was excited to help.
It's, again, a great thing for us to be able to partner with our Iraqi counterparts and to help them in any way that we can to share knowledge. That's one of the things that we are still able to do is give them the knowledge that we have and to also learn from them.
Captain Mosier was invited back to the college in May to help conduct the students' final exams. An update to the new non-chargeable leave policy that began March 23rd. The 1st Infantry Division Personnel Office confirmed some troops may still benefit despite missing the start date. Soldiers whose leave began before the 23rd but ended after that date will only be charged from day 1 of leave through March 22nd. Anything after the policy start date is non-chargeable. And that's this week's Danger Edition. For the 1st Infantry Division, I'm Specialist Jenna Lindauer.